Imagine a modern-day samurai warrior, a man who, for 13 years, has publicly executed his opponents in the ring without a single defeat. With dynamite power in his fists, he gives his rivals no chance. That's why he earned the most fearsome nickname in boxing, the Monster. Today we're going to unveil how this small giant, Naoya Inoue, a man barely over 5'3", climbed from the humblest of beginnings to the very top of the boxing world. Get ready, because this isn't just a story of fights. It's an epic tale of discipline, blood, and a legacy forged with fists. Grab your favorite drink and get ready to enjoy the story of a true living boxing legend. The future. Jack the Ripper of boxing was born in April 1993 into a family that already smelled of boxing lineage. His father, Shingo Inoue, was a former Japanese champion who dreamed of seeing his son follow in his footsteps. But it wasn't just a dream, it was an obsession. From an early age, Shingo became the architect behind the boxing machine that would become Naoya. The training was relentless, the discipline ironclad. Soon, in the amateur scene, there was no worthy opponent left for Inoue. He was like a shark in a pond of goldfish. There simply was no challenge. That's when, guided by his father and mentor, Naoya decided to dive into the ocean of professional sharks. He signed with the famous Ohashi Boxing Gym, but under one condition that set a precedent. He would never be given easy opponents. From the very start, Naoya wanted to face the best. His professional debut came in October 2012. Naoya, the Japanese Jack the Ripper, was just beginning his journey in the super flyweight division. His first opponent was the Filipino champion Tyson with an impressive record of 16 wins and just 4 losses. Logic dictated that the experienced Omayao would easily dispatch the rookie, but in boxing, logic is often a mirage. From the very first round, Inoue began to prove he was an unstoppable force. He lived up to his terrifying nickname, the Monster, with every punch. His fists fired like sniper rifles, not just landing on the ears, but going straight to Omayao's face with brutal precision.
デビュー戦、高校アマチュア万能型なんだって話しますよね。そうですね、足を使ってもいける。いや、八重樫さん、これが重いパンチ。お父さんの左ジャブから右ボディ。
But Omayao, realizing a fair victory was impossible, resorted to dirty tricks, throwing a cheap shot after the bell.
いいですね。右のフックさん止まりませんね。そうですね。ここで第1ラウンド終了。
Furious at the dishonesty, Inoue, like an enraged chef preparing his bloodiest dish, launched a merciless offense. It was the announcement that the future king had begun his rise, and that he would not tolerate foul play.
前青のどう手をもう一瞬右が打ちかけましたが、こうずれるのがよくわかるんですけども、右頭から左追い込んでいきます。左のショートカードった近い戦でのデビューとなっているこの井上なんですよね。そうですね、やっぱり僕らみたいなプレーも素晴らしいですね。左ボディ。
The next victim on the path of the Japanese Ripper was another more experienced professional boxer, Ngaoprajan Chuatana. In the first round, Chuatana, believing Inoue's previous victory was pure luck, attacked too aggressively. But Inoue showed him that his luck was actually power. Naoya won with astonishing ease, proving he had tons of dynamite in his hands and no intention of stopping. He was a machine. Then, on Inoue's road to glory, a real obstacle appeared, the experienced Yuki Sano. This fight promised to be the first serious test in our hero's career. As soon as the referee gave the signal, Inoue tried to send Sano to the world of Morpheus, but his attempts were in vain. Sano dodged the punches like Neo in the Matrix.
いや、まだほとんど佐野は手を出せず、得意の右が当たればジャブからまだ決まる。目尻ですね。出血。さらにここから左の返しまで。残りが40秒を切ります。
So Sano decided to return the favor, and his punches shook the confidence of the Monster. But the character forged in Inoue by his father came to the fore. Naoya unleashed a true revolution in the ring, turning it into his playground and dismantling Sano like a sandcastle. In the last round, the Japanese killer furiously struck Sano's head. The referee, apparently tired of watching the one-sided beating, stopped the fight to preserve what was left of Sano's health. After this victory, Inoue prepared for an even bigger goal, the fight for the Japanese championship. His opponent was Ryoichi Taguchi, a boxer who would later win the coveted WBA and IBF belts. This would not be an easy fight. From the ringing of the bell, Inoue began punishing Taguchi's head with his cannons. His fists were like those of an expert surgeon, every blow precise and deadly. It was incredible that Taguchi stayed standing. One might think his internal organs were staging a collective resignation. But Inoue wasn't looking for a quick knockout. He was methodically dismantling Taguchi, piece by piece. In the final rounds, Inoue was no longer fighting. He was playing with his victim. Taguchi's body no longer obeyed him, and the little monster had already tasted his blood. In the end, all the judges gave a unanimous victory to Inoue, awarding him the title of Champion of the Land of the Rising Sun. Another brave soul who dared to challenge Inoue's jaw was professional boxer Gerson Mancio. Gerson clearly had no plans to go down, but Inoue didn't ask for his opinion. From the start, Naoya cornered him mercilessly with his hard jabs and lethal hooks. By the fifth round, Inoue unleashed a true storm of punches on Gerson. To prevent further damage to Mancio's face, the referee stopped what had already become a public execution. After this victory, Inoue was presented with the opportunity to compete for world gold. In April 2014, with only his sixth professional fight, Naoya Inoue faced a true boss, the experienced Mexican Adrian Hernandez. Hernandez was not only the WBA world champion, but had successfully defended his title 4 times. Before the fight, all spectators already considered the newcomer buried. But when the referees said, "Fight," Swing It became clear within the first seconds that this was not a battle of experience versus youth, but a public massacre orchestrated by the monster Inoue. Hernandez didn't look like a champion, he looked like a frightened child. The Japanese boxer, on the other hand, radiated the confidence of a true champion. Inoue worked tirelessly, not only attacking but dismantling the champion piece by piece, like a child knocking down a house of cards. His punches were so precise, it seemed as if he had choreographed his opponent's movements. The Mexican looked like he had bought his title on sale, not earned it in brutal battles.
ちょっとチャンスが切れてしまって今下にフェイントかけると全部もう丸々状況。そしてこれ井上はいという自由自在に打ち込んでいきます井上尚弥。相手の左もかわして今度はかけられないんでしょう。達成します井上尚弥。ボディからでした。おそらくこれは有効なのも知ってくるでしょう。
Round after round, the Japanese boxer turned the fight into a total humiliation. The spectacle was not a contest, but a cold-blooded dismantling. Every punch echoed through Hernandez's body, destroying not only his defense, but also his fighting spirit. Then Naoya, with the brutality of a butcher, began smashing the champion's head like a squirrel cracking a nut. Hernandez couldn't stay on his feet, and soon Inoue simply forced him to kneel. Inoue won, declaring to the world that a new champion had arrived and was determined to become the undisputed king. In September 2014, the ring was shared by the newly crowned champion and a boxer named Samartlek Kokietgim. As soon as the bell rang, both exchanged fierce combinations, giving 100% power in every punch. But then, Inoue decided to show that in this survival game, there are levels, and he had maximized his. The Japanese boxer crowned himself emperor of this ring and resumed the public execution of his opponent. Inoue threw so many combinations and knocked Samartlek down so many times that the end seemed imminent. But, by some miracle, Samartlek's jaw withstood the countless artillery of Inoue.
ต้ามาเตอร์ประเทศไทยจำกัดนะครับจะวางด้วยประทัดถ้าจะไม่ด้วยนะครับนะฮะน่าจะเป็นซ้ายหรอกดึงซ้ายพอทนไหวแต่โดนโอ้ยนี่นะครับว่าโหเอียงไปหาคำกาจะบวกเลยบอลยกโอ้โหนี่ครับประทัดเข้าไปขวาสวนครับนี่ครับจะที่ซ้ายคมแล้วก็ตองผักคาวตองทลายเอ็กซ์ตัอย่างเดินแล้วนะครับสามารถหล่อถึงได้ดีอุ้ยนี่ครับระวังด้วยประทัด
However, in the 10th round, Inoue seemed to activate rage mode, hitting Samartlek with double the ferocity. By the 11th round, the referee finally realized that Samartlek's spirit had been knocked out long ago, and that he could no longer respond to Inoue, so he decided to stop the fight and save the unfortunate boxer.
ยกก้าวเลยโอ้โหตอนนี้ครับระวังขวาด้วยยังไงเสียงฮือฮาแล้วก็ลงไปเลยก็ชุดหลังกรรมการจะยุติเราไม่ได้นักเดินดาวของเราก็สู่โคติกรุ๊ปนะครับคุณบริตาเสือ11ตัวหัวใจนี่ต้องยอมแพ้นะครับแต่ว่าใจเลยโดนตัดใช้โครงก็ยังลุกขึ้นมาสู้ต่อตัวรอดมาได้โอ้ยนี่โอ้ยอย่างตัวนี่แหละครับโดนย้ำเข้าไปครับ
That same year, Inoue moved up to the super flyweight division, vacating his title, a strategic decision. This move gave the Japanese destroyer a ticket to another parade of violence, another title fight where he could claim the WBO belt. In 2014, on the eve of Christmas, spectators at the stadium witnessed a true boxing execution. The young Naoya Inoue faced Argentine Omar Narvaez, considered a veteran WBO champion who had defended his title 27 times and boasted an almost perfect record, 41 wins and only 1 loss by decision. So it seemed Narvaez would secure another successful defense of his belt. But as soon as the fight started, the Japanese hitman began bombarding Narvaez with high-speed missiles, causing the veteran champion to fall more often than a drunk girl in a bar after 9 tequila shots.
Atención Omar, derecha arriba, las manos del nipón.
Inoue, todos sus envíos son con determinación.
Izquierda arriba de Huracán, derecha abajo.
In the second round, Inoue kept launching combos to his opponent's head, culminating in a knockout and the acquisition of yet another championship title. He was unstoppable.
Aguerrido, cerrado psicológico de Narváez puede empezar a... Izquierda de Narváez, a la de Narváez lo dice todo. Izquierda. Izquierda Inoue. Una furia japonesa.
The next opponent for the Japanese boxer was the experienced Warlito Parenas. However, Parenas didn't see Inoue as an equal opponent, probably due to Inoue's relatively short professional record. But the samurai descendant was determined to prove Parenas had made a fatal mistake. As soon as the boxers entered the ring, Parenas put on a clown mask and started mocking Inoue throughout the first round. After every punch, Parenas brazenly questioned Inoue's power in front of the crowd, showing his disdain through body language. But after enduring the mockery in the first round, Inoue was determined to take Parenas' arrogance away in the second. He advanced aggressively, unleashing his lethal arsenal of punches. Determined to end the show, Inoue first sent Parenas to a brutal canvas, then finished him off mercilessly. The next victim to satisfy the monster's hunger was David Carmona. Their duel began, and from the first seconds, the two giants created a true Ragnarok inside the four corners of the ring. Fans experienced every emotion, non-stop, as Inoue and Carmona seemed to turn the ring into a movie set, with Carmona playing the victim in an intense, blood-shedding scene. This was not just a fight, it was a chess game between a grandmaster and a child, played with punches. It's worth noting that Carmona also responded fiercely in this brutal exchange. Blood, sweat, and pain mixed into a dizzying whirlwind during this duel, keeping the spectators on the edge of their seats. In the end, after the judge's decision, Inoue secured a decisive victory, keeping his WBO belt intact.
ダウンも1回も経験はありません、井上。左から右を狙ってますか？
狙ってますね。
左膨らむ。しかしカナダはカナダは話をしていました。しかしそれでもカナダに対して大きく動くか狙っている井上。ラウンド一つアクセルを上げてきました。これがモンスター。仕留めるんだこれで井上。この試合もやはり最後の最後に井上の破壊力が相手は反撃する力がない。フィニッシュを打ち込めるか。
The next challenger for Inoue was Pechbong-born Kokietjim, who possessed an iron jaw, as every Thai boxer should. When their fight began, Inoue immediately started firing his barrage of punches at every level of Kokietjim's defense. During the first half of the fight, Inoue completely demolished Kokietjim with his fierce combinations, targeting both the head and the body. Kokietjim tried to control Inoue in the ring, but the Japanese boxer made it clear that trying to control him was like trying to control a hurricane with bare hands.
大事ですからね。はい。
いらっしゃいますか。
よく相手を見てますよね。
ボディが入りました。
まあ軽量級ならではの。
お、左だ。
さあコンビネーション。まとめていく。
Then, Inoue began slowly breaking down Kokietjim's steel jaw with his fiery blows. And when Inoue had completely taken away Kokietjim's bodily awareness, the crowd started witnessing not just a fight, but a knockout masterpiece.
というところは、ちゃんの
そうですね。そうですね。打ったんですね。
しかし相手は手を止めません。右。
私最初に確認したところがないですから絶対に倒しに来るしかないんで、したら隙もできますんで、
いう話をしています。さあここでまとめていきます。こういうところになっています。さあロープを背負わせるか。
圧倒しますね。10秒。
In the end, Inoue achieved a truly spectacular victory and once again solidified himself as the world champion. After this fight, it seemed promoters were tired of seeing zero in Inoue's loss column and realized that such an uncontrollable fire had to be fought with fire. So they placed another Japanese boxer, Kohei Kono, as Inoue's next opponent. Kono, a two-time world champion who had held the WBA title twice with 3 successful defenses, was no stranger to the ring. The promoters were right, as this turned out to be a very tough fight for the Japanese monster. When the bell rang to start this relentless bout, The two lightweights immediately began exchanging punches as powerful as the military force of an entire army. Every blow was felt down to the bones, and the sound of impacts was so thunderous one might think the golden era of heavyweights had returned to the ring.
高温の対策として重点的にやってきた部分、これポイントにするものなんですか。右をフックだ。なんと河野公平。矢野がチャンピオン。今の河野選手の。
But at one point, Kono seemed to have drunk a secret potion as he began moving faster and hitting harder. However, the monster, true to his nickname, responded with his own hellish combinations.
そうですね。相手にダメージを尽くさせ右。この大音が効いた。これは効いている。これは井上が詰める。井上がさらに攻め込んでまだまだいい。そうですね。
クラブさん。
この脳へのダメージも効いてますね。ただコードが前に出たね。すごいですね。
Then, Inoue decided to show all his lethal grace. In the 10th round, he sent Kono to a brutal canvas, and then the monster seemed to coat his gloves with sleeping potion, knocking Kono out immediately.
という声が飛んでいました。はい。そしてまた前に出ます。河野が前に出てきた。左の井上の左。河野選手。河野は耐えられた。井上は剣が右だ。
In the end, Inoue won and continued his hunt for the heads of other contenders. The next to challenge Inoue was Mexican boxer Ricardo Rodriguez. Rodriguez came in on a winning streak and clearly had no intention of stopping, but Inoue was determined to prove his fist was the final stop for any jaw. As soon as the boxers were released from their corners, Inoue began testing with his jabs and combinations. By the 3rd round, the sweet science laureate, having deciphered his opponent's tactics and waiting for the perfect moment, sent Rodriguez into a sweet sleep.
兼ね備えている日本のスイッチ戦がサウスポーで構えてきました。
この試合に備えて、ジャブとフックと変えてるんですよね、いろいろ。
右のストレート。接近戦にこれまで変え
Another challenger dropped dead to the floor from the power of Inoue's punches, but this little monster was still hungry for more victories and continued his victorious march. The next target in the sights of the Japanese monster was the highly technical Antonio Nieves. With an almost perfect record of 17 wins and only 1 loss by split decision, he posed a serious threat, but Inoue, as always, laughed at the danger. The fight began, and the Japanese boxer immediately turned the ring into a hunting ground, taking on the role of predator while Nieves played the fleeing prey. Within seconds, Inoue asserted complete control of the ring, forcing Nieves to kneel before him. Nieves' corner, realizing they had to save their fighter from the monster's claws, stopped the fight. Inoue was declared the winner and continued adding loud knockouts to his record.
Taught him well. He's fundamentally sound, and that power tries to deliver the body. Inoue did a great job downstairs and comes back up when he throws it. Oh, and it's set. Trying to find somewhere to hide in the ring, and he can't.
Has him ready to go to the body. Up there.
The referee has to keep a close look on the Nieves and
going on internally in his rib kick.
And he has made the decision.
Naoya monster.
In his next fight, Inoue made his opponent, Juan Boyo, run a marathon inside the ring. The fight started, and Inoue's impenetrable defense absorbed all of Boyo's punches, while his deadly attack sent Boyo to the canvas. Then, the monster seemed to want a piece of his opponent's liver, turning him into a chop twice over, making Boyo regret ever signing the contract for the fight. After that, the Japanese monster simply decided to finish his breakfast. In his next bout, Inoue faced a difficult level challenge. A boxer named Jamie McDonnell, who was the WBA world champion and had never been knocked out in his career, boasting 30 wins and 2 losses. McDonald knew his opponent was another monster in human form and prepared even during introductions. However, the Japanese boxer was determined to show that all of McDonald's preparations were in vain. As soon as the referee signaled the start, Inoue launched his attack, making it seem like he was rushing to catch a Black Friday deal. Once the playful exchanges ended, Inoue unleashed a brutal combination that resulted in McDonald's first knockout loss and added the WBA title to Inoue's collection. After only 6 years of his crusade through the souls of boxers, the Japanese Ripper was invited to the World Boxing Super Series, where the best of the best compete for the title of the strongest. Moreover, the winner would be awarded the prestigious Muhammad Ali Trophy. The Super Series quarterfinals took place in October 2018. Inoue's opponent in the tournament bracket was the Dominican Juan Carlos Payano, who had previously held the WBA and WBO belts. His mere presence in the Super Series participant list made him a dangerous opponent, as the fighters in this gathering of killers were unbeatable. The duel began, and Payano immediately started breaking down Inoue's defense with powerful punches. However, Inoue was determined to prove that even among such skilled boxers, he was untouchable. He set out to demonstrate the lethal power of his fists.
Losing decision against Rush.
In the end, Inoue achieved a spectacular victory and proved that in the world of knockout artistry, he was Leonardo da Vinci, and those who questioned whether he could go far were wrong. In the Super Series semifinals, Inoue faced the undefeated Puerto Rican prodigy Emmanuel Rodriguez, who had an intimidating record of 19 wins and 0 losses, with 11 of those wins by devastating knockout. But in this fight, the desire to win took a back seat, as the only purpose of the Japanese assassin was to avenge the disrespect shown to his father. This incident had happened in the gym before the fight. Rodriguez's trainer had arrogantly shoved Inoue's father right in front of him, showing total disrespect. Inoue swore he would get revenge on this arrogant trainer by brutally destroying his protege. The fateful day arrived, and driven by thirst for vengeance, Inoue decided not to be carried away by emotions, but to let his fists speak for him. When the fight started, Rodriguez immediately began applying heavy pressure. However, the anger inside Inoue fueled his strength, and by the second round, he unleashed his sniper-like precision and sent Rodriguez to the canvas for the first time in his career.
It's the knockout ratio of a habit.
Of his own. Toe-to-toe action, first round. Oh, big shot.
Have come from Inoue and
a fearsome flurry, and he's down. He's got him with a left.
By some miracle, Rodriguez got up, but Inoue, adhering to the samurai code, decided to finish his opponent once and for all.
Here comes Inoue! Oh, he's got it to take much more than that.
In the end, Inoue claimed victory and captured the IBF title, exacting brutal revenge on the shameless trainer by inflicting on his protege the first defeat of his career. Inoue advanced to the Super Series final, unaware that this fight would be crucial for him. No one had ever made him work so hard in his victorious career. In this bout, the Japanese bounty hunter became the prey as he faced Filipino Nonito Donaire, who was not only a brutal knockout artist, but also a master of impeccable technique. Everyone in the arena knew a true hell would break loose in the ring. As soon as this apocalyptic fight began, Donaire immediately started his boxing monologue, not allowing Inoue to dictate the pace of the bout. Donaire, almost like a monster hunter, was the first to draw blood from the monster. Inoue's fans began to worry about his previously flawless record. However, with blood streaming from his eye, Inoue started to show why they called him the monster. With a relentless fighting spirit, he relentlessly hunted Donaire's body. But even that wasn't enough for Nonito, and it seemed the Filipino was about to bury Inoue's perfect record. However, Inoue appeared to activate Berserker mode, fighting like never before. In the final stretch, both boxers were neck and neck for victory, but in the 11th round, Inoue landed a sniper-like shot to the liver that shook his opponent, earning him the judges' recognition as the strongest fighter. Winning by unanimous decision and barely preserving his undefeated record, Inoue triumphed in the World Boxing Super Series and claimed the Muhammad Ali Trophy, solidifying his status as a true kaiju, a giant beast in the boxing world. Naoya Inoue has dominated the ring for the past 13 years, proving with his fists that, for now, no one can rival him. However, among the modern geniuses of the sweet science, there is another Nobel of boxing, Gervonta Tank Davis, a monster of power, capable of knocking out anyone with every punch. Share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think would happen if these two boxing superstars met in their prime? Who would come out victorious and who would deliver the definitive knockout? See you in the next video.